Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing season 4 of Dancemoms. My season 3 review was a long video, and this one's going to be even longer because I have a lot to say about the season. I got notes for every single episode, and let's get into it. So, first up, we got the Kara special. So, basically, this was after the Nationals episode that happened, and so we have no Chloe or Christy here again, and then Leslie comes back, unfortunately. I can't stand her. And then Abby getting Brooke to tie her shoe. Be for real, tie your own shoe. And then it was pointed out that Payne gets to do her old solo at the competition while Brooke has to learn a completely new solo, which really isn't fair. I liked Maddie's solo. I liked Brooke's Wake solo. Payne's solo was meh. I mean, I think she's a good performer. I just don't really care for like the choreography and everything. It was like boring to watch. And then Leslie saying that they deserve to be on the team. Absolutely not. I thought that the group dance that they did for this episode was just kind of meh. Maddie won her solo, Brooke got third, Peyton got second, and then the group did win. And so basically, this was just for cancer awareness and to raise money for that and everything for Abby's mom. So that's what the point of the episode was. It's nice to have something break the traditional format. It was a good episode for what it was. There wasn't a whole lot of arguing, so I appreciate it for what it was, honestly. Now on to the Guess Who's Coming to the Dance Special, aka another reunion. So Brooke performed her song, and then the girls always do solos and stuff like that for these as well. I liked Chloe's particularly. And Chrissy at this reunion just wasn't my favorite. I just felt like she was very combative. I didn't really enjoy a lot of the points that she was making in her delivery. That's the thing that gets me with Chrissy, as I said before. I agree with a lot of the stuff that she says, but her delivery and just the things that she says sometimes I disagree with. So, there's something there. And Christy clocked Abby on why the show is successful because I think she even mentioned it. Like, Abby's ultimate dance competition wasn't doing that well, and that's why they were trying to get the Dance Moms girls on there to kind of boost it up. And Abby's realizing, oh, people don't watch a show for me, they watch it for the girls. So it had to be that humbling because she wants to say, I made you this, I made you that. But I would not watch Dance Moms if the girls were not on it. And I think Abby in her heart knows that. So that's something there. And then they had Talia perform and everything like that. Like I said, I never have a whole lot of thoughts for the reunions because they're just regurgitating everything from the season. Opinions don't really change. They're not very productive. So that's my thoughts on that reunion. Now on to the first episode. So I love the new intro. I really do. And it's on the screen right now. And I just really like the aesthetics for the season. I'm glad that they revamped the intro and it just looks so sharp. I love how colorful that it is. And yeah, this is just peak Dance Moms in terms of like the aesthetics and stuff like that. So we really needed the new intro. We did. It was messed up whenever we got to Pyramid, and then she reveals Nia to be at the bottom of the pyramid, and like why, and then she has Kendall up there, and then she switches the pictures. I thought that was messed up, just have them actually be where they're going to be, but to switch it like that for the children, it was cruel. But I actually do get Abby's point this time because she said that they went on vacation the same days that they had booty camp and they already knew that months in advance. And so it's like, if you knew that you already had this coming up, then why would you plan your vacation those days when you knew that you had to be there at rehearsal? So I actually agree with her that one time. And so there's something there. And Nia was there all summer. So that's why she was higher on the pyramid. And this is the episode where Chloe, Paige, and Kendall do the Buckle Up trio. I love this trio. It's one of my favorites on the show, which was so much fun to watch. I like the outfits, and it was a really great way to open up the season. Maddie does her birthday solo, which ate. It was a great one of my favorites. And she just rolled out the red carpet for Maddie after she won nationals. And it's so funny that whenever Chloe won nationals, oh, we don't care. We're not going to have a pyramid and blah, blah, blah. Because, we didn't want her to be on top of the pyramid because she just beat Maddie and won. And Maddie got her cake and everything. So that was there. And then Jill was annoying. Talk about where Kendall's cake. She lost. Why would you get a cake for second place? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you expect her to do that. That doesn't make any sense there. Leslie was talking about, oh, Payne always gets replaced. You are the replacement for Brooke whenever she throws Brooke off the team or she pulls you in for a one-off performance. Like, you weren't even on the team to be replaced. So that didn't make any sense to me. And so Nia's Freedom in Paradise solo was just kind of mid to me. I didn't really care for it too much, to be honest with you. Like I said, I really liked Maddie's birthday solo and the Girls Night Out group. The trio won. Nia didn't place with her solo, unfortunately. She did fall on her front aerial. Maddie won for her solo, and the group gets third place. And the group actually is underrated. Girls Night Out, like, she literally has her reenact the fight between Leslie and Christy during it. So it was cute for what it was, kind of underrated. Now on to episode 2, and Abby says, we're going to see who's my number 2 girl right behind Maddie. It's going to be between Kendall and Chloe, and this is an arc they try to push multiple times this season, and it irritates me for a few reasons. Number 1, I think that Chloe is way better than Kendall. Chloe's one of the best dancers on the show. It's not up for debate. If you see it, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, like if you watch it. And so I just feel like Kendall wasn't really competition for Chloe. They did go against each other multiple times, and Chloe was going to get the win most of the time. And I just feel like like Kendall was never on Chloe's level. So to constantly push this arc this season, I just thought that it was pointless in general. And as Chrissy pointed out, it was always Maddie and Chloe for years. And now you're telling me that Chloe has to compete for a second spot with Kendall. Like, it was just unserious to me. And I hated this arc for so many reasons. And so, another thing that they try to push on the show in the next few seasons, as we'll see, is, oh, Kendall, are you going to be the next Maddie? And I just think that that does us a disservice to Kendall and Maddie because they're two different kind of dancers. And even if you compare anybody on the team and saying being like Maddie, they're not going to be because everybody's different. So, yeah, this is just very unserious to me. And then this is the one where Kendall gets her demand applause solo, and then Chloe gets the roar solo. And I agree with everyone saying that Chloe should have done Lady Gaga and Kendall should have done Katy Perry because Chloe is blonde and Kendall has brown hair. So it just makes a lot more sense. And so I will have that point. And I don't get why Kathy told Nakaya that she improved so much, and then you told her that she wasn't going to get the solo. Like, you could have just said nothing. Like, why set her up like that? You're not even going to give her the solo. Kendall's demand applause solo was actually good for the most part. Unfortunately, she does fall out of her turns. But I definitely think that the choreography was competitive. And then Leslie crying because Abby told her to shut up is just ridiculous. Like, she wants to soft and be rude to all these other women, and you're gonna cry because Abby told her to shut up when she tells them words every single week. And so that was just ridiculous. Chloe's Hear Me Roar solo, it was good for what it was. Again, I think that she can do harder choreography, and you can definitely tell that Abby was setting up Kendall for the win this week just in terms of the choreography and all that stuff. Okay, so it's worth noting that this is the episode where Kendall was supposed to go last with her solo. Chloe goes last. She asks if she can just because she kind of wanted to see what her competition was doing and, you know, what she needed to do to ultimately end up pulling out the win. And this is what Chloe said. And so then basically Kendall goes, and as we know, she unfortunately falls out of her turn. Chloe goes, nails her solo, and Abby told her, oh, you went, watched her from the wings and learned and saw what you had to do. And if she would have nailed that turn, then you would have been a mess. And it's like, we don't know that. Like, for all we know, maybe Kendall still would have fell out of the turn. Maybe she wouldn't have. Maybe Chloe would have won. Maybe she wouldn't have. But, like, all these hypotheticals, I think, are just kind of stupid. Like I said, most of the time she goes up against Kendall, she wins anyway. So I just thought it was dumb, the fact that Abby and Jill hung on to... So I just feel like it was kind of dumb the way that Jill held on to this for so long, all the way throughout the season. It is what it is. And this is whenever they did Just Another Number group. And I thought it was alright. I didn't really care for this group too much, to be honest with you. The Candy Apples group and solo was mid to me, as it pretty much always is. I like that we get the choreographer's cut of the dances because I'm watching it on Hulu, so they are doing that now. And that's a note that I wanted to have, is that whenever they do this, some scenes are going to be cut. Like, there is a scene where Chrissy tells Chloe, like, I'm tired of talking you off to the ledge and all this nervous crap. If you keep doing that, I'm going to take your phone, or something like that. And so that actually gets cut. So if there's certain scenes that I don't talk about, it's because whenever they do the choreographer's cut, they cut out certain scenes of it. So I did want to have that asterisk there and everything. And so for the solos, Kendall ends up getting 5th, Candy Apples ends up getting 4th, Chloe got 2nd, and then I believe for the group, Candy Apples gets 2nd, Abby Lee gets 1st, and it's just annoying to me, Jill in the confessional talking about, oh, just because Kendall didn't place higher than Chloe doesn't mean she isn't as good. She never was. She never was. Like, this narrative this season is so irritating to me. It really is. And then Payne and Leslie get in an argument again with Abby, and then they end up leaving. You already know how it goes. This happens like 800 times on the show. And then to episode 3, Leslie comes back yet again, unfortunately. And then Jill was saying that Kendall should have been in the trio, which I disagree with. And Abby holds another audition because she's like, oh, you guys are going to get replaced. Maddie does her Down My Spine solo, which was good. I liked Mackenzie's take to go solo. And then this was the trio with Chloe, Brooke, and Paige when they do Hear No Evil, See No Evil, whatever that's called. But I really liked the trio. I thought it was fun. That's whenever Brooke has the mic, and I liked it for what it was. And then Peyton falls, so then she can't be in the group dance, and then they have to reblock the group dance. And this is whenever they did the Team Spirit group dance. It was cool for what it was. There's a lot of other better group dances this season, so it probably falls in the lower half for me, but it wasn't bad by any means. Mackenzie's solo ends up winning. Maddie is first, the trio gets second, and the group gets first. Now on to episode 4, and so Abby kicks Peyton off the team again. I believe she got into an argument with Leslie during Pyramid, and so it's really confusing, the whole thing with Peyton falling, because she said that she tripped over a prop, and then, oh, she tripped over Kendall, and then she tripped over the chair that Kendall was sitting in. So, like, what is the truth? Like, I really don't know what the truth is regarding that. And then Abby decides to have Kendall and Chloe go head-to-head again this week, and Jill is still mad about the switched order from a couple episodes ago because Chloe asked if she could go last and everything, and Jill was saying that it wasn't fair and blah, blah, blah. So that was just really annoying to me because she talked about it multiple times this season. Like, please, like, get over it. And then Abby had some digs at Chloe. She was talking about, oh, you're depicting Miley Cyrus. She's not exactly wholesome. Is that you? Like, why are you saying that to a child? Like, her hate towards Chloe this season, it was just ridiculous. And then Jill was talking about Chloe seems to get all the breaks. When does Chloe get set up in a position to win? Let's be serious. It is really rare that she gets the choreography that she deserves to win and she's not sabotaged by Abby. So saying that she gets all the breaks doesn't make any sense. And just the way that Abby treats her, I mean, come on. And then she gets mad that Kendall's going first again. I will agree that Kendall's holo solo definitely was a setup. It was, because the costuming, the choreography, yeah, it was a setup. I can definitely agree with her on that. Chloe had her record solo, nice, pretty lyrical, nice, clean choreography. I thought that she did great. It's one of my favorite Chloe solos for sure, so I really enjoyed it. The candy apples, it was okay. And then Abby annoyed me because right before the group goes on, she's talking about sometimes your best isn't good enough. Why would you tell them to that right before they're about to perform? Like, how is that going to help them? And this is when I did the Witches of East Kenton, which I really liked. Kendall gets second for her solo, Chloe gets first, and she also got the Beautiful from Head to Toe award. Candy Apples gets second for the group dance, and ALDC gets first, and rightfully so. Now on to episode 5. So Holly volunteers to go to the auditions just kind of to see what Abby's up to and get leverage in that way. Chloe gets top of the pyramid, which was well deserved for winning her solo. And they do the Atlas group, which Nia ends up being featured in. And Christy clocked the fact that oftentimes, and Abby has admitted to this, they would take Maddie out of school and then she would go learn her solo in the group dance and stuff like that, and then they would just make it look for the show like she was just learning it, and so she already knew it. And that's what annoys me with Abby and Melissa, is you guys aren't forthcoming, because every time they clock that Maddie already knew the choreography, oh, she didn't know it and blah blah blah. Y'all all know that she did. Just admit it. Like, oh, she went and she learned it, and then we can move on. But they're just so sneaky with stuff like that. And obviously it's not a diss towards Maddie herself, but it's just a diss towards Abby and Melissa for being so sneaky. Just like be forthcoming with that, because she already knew the choreography. Like, it is what it is. And then Abby goes and tells Christy, like, oh, Maddie's doing the ballerina solo. A few years ago, this would have went to Chloe, and then just trying to hate on Chloe yet again and saying that Chloe should be homeschooled. And then she talks to Chloe about it, and Chloe says, I like school, I still like dancing, but I like having a normal life, which is fine. And then Abby holds another audition, and we go through that. Mackenzie has her Love Overdose solo, which was fun. That's when she does the lip syncing. And then Maddie has the ballerina solo, which was good. I liked it. I liked the Southern Bells trio. So this was the one with Chloe, Kendall, and Paige. So that was fun. And then they did the Atlas group dance. Like I said, Nia was featured as the lead-in. She did a fantastic job. And it was definitely thought-provoking about, the civil rights movement and stuff like that. So I thought she did a great job with that. Mackenzie gets second. The trio wins. Maddie wins. The group wins. And then saying that she needs a rival, like it wasn't Maddie versus Chloe for years, be for real. Now on to episode 6. So this is the one where Abby brings in another girl named Chloe that went to her audition. She has her stand next to Chloe, and she says, oh, this is the new Chloe. Like, how messed up is that to do to Chloe? Like, every week you're knocking on her and saying that she needs to get more confidence and stuff like that, and then you're doing this, like, oh, this is a new, better version of you. Like, how is she supposed to feel? Like, that was so messed up of her to do. And I don't understand why she was ahead on the pyramid of certain people whenever she wasn't there to perform with them as the group last week. Like, Nia's on top of the pyramid, which was deserved. She gave the new Chloe a lyrical routine. And Christy clocked how every single time that they have a new person join the team, they always make Chloe go against them in a solo. And exactly. And the fact that Abby only spent 17 minutes on Nia and Kendall's duet is just ridiculous. They deserved more time and attention. And like I said, I don't really go up for their duets particularly because Abby always sabotages them. She never gives them enough time. She never gives them a good enough choreography or a costume. Like, it's always a setup. So I just don't appreciate their duets because they always deserved a lot more. And then whenever she's giving them pep talks, she always talks to the new girl and she says, oh, tell them you are the new Chloe and you are here to stay. Like, are you kidding me? And the duet between Nia and Kendall wasn't bad for only having 17 minutes of rehearsal. And I thought Nia really stood out with it, with her expressions, and, it was cute for what it was. It wasn't that bad. And Chloe sing Red solo, 8. This is one of my favorite Chloe solos. It's something a little bit different. I like when she does the darker character, so I always really like this solo. And the new Chloe solo, I thought it was gorgeous with the choreography. I thought that she did a nice job. Her headpiece fell out during the routine, and she did bobble the turn at the end, and Abby, had her whole reaction to that. You already know how it goes. And this is the week where they do the Why Not Me group routine. And so they had a group called Why Not Me in season 3, and that was Brooke with the Seniors, and then they just have another one with the same name. But I thought that this was really tastefully done. This is actually underrated. I really enjoyed the routine, so I will say that. And then the new mom was talking about, oh, I don't know if I want to be here now that I see what it's like slumming it with you ladies. And it's like, why would you be so disrespectful to her and like the other kids and stuff like that? And then she went and she talked to Abby, and then she was trying to throw the moms under the bus whenever you were talking trash about them and their kids in the studio. And, oh, I don't want to slum it here with y'all. So that backfired. And then the moms ate her up. And so Chloe got fourth for her solo. The new Chloe got second with her solo. The duet got third, and the group ends up getting first. Now into episode 7. So Abby announces that she's going to be bringing in a select team to compete against the junior elite competition team. And she has Chloe at the bottom of the pyramid, which I thought was ridiculous. I feel like she deserved a little bit higher on the pyramid. And she says that she's going to have Chloe, Brooke, and Paige go to New York with her and help her out with the auditions and stuff. And obviously Kelly and Christy will be there. And then the other girls are going to compete at Newville. And then this is the one where she's like, she's going to go, she's going to do the solo, and we're all going to have fun. So that was one of her funny moments. And then she literally saw a girl holding up a sign for Chloe and she's talking about, oh, maybe we'll be replacing her. Seriously? And I agree with Christy on this because she literally did not teach Chloe, Brooke, and Paige the combo and wants them to go perform out in front of the no girls. Like, you're trying to embarrass them. And she was like, oh, it's embarrassing that they're wearing my apparel. And then you're like, oh, do you want us to change? And so they ended up changing. And the fact that, like, Chloe cried because she said that she's so scared. And you can just tell that there's, like, a lot of tension there. But, I mean, really, you're going to have them there to help and you're not even going to teach them that. Like, you're setting them up to fail. So, I mean, that was just ridiculous as well. And there was a scene that was cut from this episode, and a mom said that Paige's turns were horrendous, and then Abby brings up Paige shows off her turns, and it's all good. And I definitely agree with one of the comments that I saw where they were saying it is messed up for her to say that, and it's Abby's fault for facilitating that type of environment to where the moms feel like it's okay for them to do that. Because there's even a scene from season 3 whenever one of the moms is like about, oh, my daughter can beat Chloe, and Abby's like, oh, a lot of people have beat Chloe, and it's like, okay, that's your fault because you didn't give her competitive enough choreography and you set her up. So, I mean, that was sad. That was sad, but I'm glad that Paige proved her wrong. Paige ends up having her Ooh La La solo this week, and I thought it was great. I really liked it. And Abby saying that she was a disappointment, really, I thought that that was one of her best routines. Brooke has her Purple Rain solo, which I thought was beautiful, and she hated on Brooke too, talking about you can't give her any new stuff. And coming for Nia and Kendall, that was ridiculous. I will say that I love Paige and Chloe's Wishbone duet. That is one of my favorite duets on the show, one of my favorite moments. There is a sadness to it because of everything that happens afterwards, but I still really appreciate that for what it was, and so glad to see them perform again with each other. And then she sneaks in the Maddie and Kalani duet. And so this is basically referred to as the duet that broke Dancemoms. And I think everyone's problem for this, for the most part, is the fact that they weren't forthcoming. If you were going to say at Pyramid, oh, they are going to be competing this duet against Paige and Chloe, then fine. Like, you just accept it, you take the L, and you know what it's going to be. But for her to say, oh, Paige, this is your week, and give her all these things, and for her and Chloe to be so excited to have the duet, because, you know, they didn't have many on the show, and for her to sneak that in, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all. At least Melissa asked for it to be exhibition and to not be adjudicated. But at the same time, I feel like you knew that if Maddie was going to perform it, she was going to be scored. So, yeah, it's just sneaky. It's just sneaky. If they're going to perform it, be honest about it and just end up performing it. So that's just my problem with it. And I just didn't like it in that respect. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite. And then Melissa lied about the duet, and it's just putting Maddie in a bad position. It is, because it just seems like they told Maddie to not be able to tell the truth about it or something like that, but it just puts Maddie in a bad position. So I blame Abby and I blame Melissa for that. And Two Sapphires was great technically. It just rubs you the wrong way because of the whole situation and what happened afterwards. And even there's a lyric in it where it says, all your secrets that I keep, which is just interesting. It is. And after Maddie and Kalani perform their duet, Abby invites them back to the dressing room, which I just thought was distasteful. It puts both of them in a bad position because nobody wants to talk to them after everything that happened, and it just wasn't the time. It was just inappropriate, and I think that she was just trying to like get at Kelly's nerves more. It really was. And so then basically she's like, oh, you should take both of my kids' place. And Abby's like, Brooke, is your mother speaking for you? Do you really not want to do this? And then she's telling Brooke to grow the hell up. And then Kelly's like, what about you shut the hell up? And then she starts getting closer to her face and she says, get your finger out of my face. And then that's whenever she pulls her hair and then she slaps her face and they have that moment. And then the girls, you can tell that they're traumatized by it. And so watching the scene by itself is funny, but then whenever you just think about how they must have felt in that moment and just how high the tensions were, you know, it is traumatizing in that respect. So they have their fight, and then Holly gets the girls out of the room, and then Abby calls the police on her, and it was funny, her describing her, because she literally said she had a cool and trendy haircut. So there was that moment, and then they had the group number Beautiful Revenge, and so they literally had to reblock it because Brooke and Paige were out of the group. And so it's sad to watch because of everything that happened right before, and they still have to perform in that number. I don't know how they did it. I don't. Paige ends up getting fifth with her solo, Brooke gets fourth, Wishbone gets second, and Two Sapphires gets first, and the group ends up winning. So another thing that I'll say in regards to the whole two sapphires debate and everything, I think that the moms did put a little bit too much on Maddie because she's just a kid. It's not her fault, and she's gonna do what Abby tells her to do because she doesn't want to let her down. She doesn't want to be punished, and that is Abby's fault and Melissa's fault for facilitating that environment to where Maddie feels like she doesn't have agency and whatever it is. And so that's not her fault. It really is not her fault. She shouldn't be blamed for that. That is Melissa and Abby's fault. And so I just didn't like that the moms were like, oh, she's not really your friend and all that stuff. Like I said, if she lied, it's because they told her that she had to lie. So that's not Maddie's fault. And Maddie's like, oh, I don't really get why they would be upset and everything like that. But it's just a bigger thing. But it wasn't Maddie's fault. So I think that she gets some unjust, vitriol in that situation that she doesn't really deserve because it's not on her and it's not on Kalani either. Even watching the reunion, they kind of just talk about it, and Kelly's like, I wish I would have handled myself better and all those things. And Kalani was like, we were just taking the opportunity because it was given to us, like we weren't trying to replace you. And I just feel like Abby got fed up with Kelly and that she was deliberately trying to poke her buttons. I don't think that she knew that it was going to get to that place that it got to for sure. But even I agree with someone on the subreddit for Dance Moms, they said that this episode, it's just kind of hard to watch. Like, it just has an off vibe, and it does because the whole time watching it, you know exactly what's gonna happen with the fight scene, and then just watching it, I can just see Abby just gradually trying to get on Kelly's nerves throughout this entire episode, and it worked. It worked. It's unfortunate how everything went down, and Brooke and Paige and Kelly do leave the show, not to be seen again, and I hate that because they added a lot to the show. And there definitely is a tone shift once they leave, and I'll talk about that, my overall thoughts at the end for sure. We hate to say it, we do, but that's kind of my thoughts on the episode. So it's definitely a hard episode to watch. It really is. Episode 8, the intro kind of gets sad to watch because they're not on the show anymore, so I kind of wish they would have retooled the intro. And then it was just annoying because she was talking to Chloe and she was like, oh, you and Maddie, whenever y'all do duets, it usually wins. And it's like, you didn't enter Maddie with her to do the duet. Like, you really entered Maddie against her and set yourself up so where you would get the win regardless. But if you would have just let Paige and Chloe win the duet, then they would have won if you didn't enter in Maddie and Kalani. So that was just annoying. And then she has Maddie and Chloe do the duet, which is called Confession. And so she tells Chloe, oh, you're confessing. Confessing about what? Chloe didn't do anything wrong. So it annoys me. And then it just annoyed me whenever they try to say, oh, it's not Christy and Chloe against the world. Season 4, it was. Abby put them both through hell. And so to say that, like, no. Y'all are wrong. Y'all are wrong. It really was. And then Kendall and Kalani do a frame duet. I just thought it was very mid. I did not care for it. It was atrocious. I'm sorry. And I didn't care for Maddie and Chloe's confessions duet a whole lot. It just felt disconnected. Chloe still feels like she can't trust Maddie after the incident that happened that past week, and Maddie's still trying to get into the duet, but there's just awkwardness with it. And even though they dance beautifully, it's just not having the same connection that a lot of their other duets have. And yeah, it's still probably one of the better duets on the show, but I don't really care for watching it too much. There's just kind of an awkwardness to me. And Nia's solo in this episode, man, I didn't really care for it too much. And this is the one where she does that Down the River to Pray solo, whatever that one's called. And then her headpiece slips, which wasn't that bad at the end. It wasn't. And then Christy gets blamed because she did move it slightly and everything. But I don't really think that it ruined the routine. And then Abby got mad at Christy and whatever. So, but I don't think Christy would intentionally try to do that. It just accidents happen, but it wasn't that bad. And then they had a Yum Yum group dance in this episode. And for the longest, I didn't really care for this group dance. It felt a little bit silly to me. But with the kind of darkness surrounding this episode and everything that happened last episode, it's nice to have a moment of lightness. So I did appreciate it more. Chloe and Maddie's duet gets second and the group ends up getting first. And so the way that this competition is they put all the routines together, like the duets, the groups, the solos, all those things. So that's how that ended up working. Down to episode 9, Maddie is not here, and then Abby's annoying saying she's looking for her number 2 whenever Chloe beat Kendall twice in the season already. And whenever rehearsing for her solo, Abby asked Chloe to reach inside of herself and imagine if you danced like Maddie. Like, why would you say that? And then all the moms agreed to go to lunch to meet Kelly, and then Kira asked if she can go, and then she ends up going, and she said she just wanted to make sure that Kalani's spot on the team was secure because Abby just added Kalani to the team, basically, at this point. They met with Kelly, they talked a little bit about the lawsuit that she had with Abby, but she couldn't really discuss a whole lot of it on camera. And Kelly said the only moms that reached out to her was Christy and Holly, which makes sense. And Jill was talking about, oh, I thought you would have liked to be left alone. Why would she want to be left alone after she just got kicked out of the studio, and so did her kids, and the traumatization that ultimately comes from that? And even they admitted that Abby, after a kid leaves the studio, they'll try to blacklist them. Why would they not want their friends to so-called reach out to them? Like, Jill is just a bunch of BS, and I expect her and Melissa to not reach out. So, it's very on brand. And I agree that Kendall should have got her special part because she did win the dance off, and so the special part basically ends up going to Kalani and Maddie for this one. And so Abby always puts Chloe up against the new girl, like we discussed. So she has her go up against Kalani, and of course she's not gonna have Kalani go up against Maddie because Kalani's probably going to win. And so we already knew that that was gonna happen. And then Abby got mad that they went to lunch with Kelly, and it's like that was outside of the studio. They're going to be their own friends. Like, stop being so controlling. And then she started arguing with Christy about something. And this is the episode where Chloe does her Into Me solo. If you know one thing about me, this is my favorite Chloe solo, my favorite solo on the show, period. I think that it's just gorgeous. You can tell that it was an emotional piece for her and that she really just sunk into it. And the lyrics are just so accurate to the situation that she was going through. I thought the choreography was great. Like, everything about this, you know, the costume, it was just top tier. I think it's great to watch. It really is, and it just pulls something out of me every single time. So I love this solo. And it's interesting because the version of this solo in the episode is different. It is, because the one on Lifetime's original channel is different. And so I'm like, which version of it was judged? Because it seems on Lifetime version they spliced two versions together, and same thing for the choreographer's cut. So I don't know which version was judged, but they do film the dance twice for every single episode, FYI. Kalani has her Swan Solstice solo, which was beautiful. It was. I thought the choreography was very advanced. I thought her execution was great. I really liked the song. So definitely got to be one of Kalani's best solos for sure. Mackenzie's crown falls during her Seeing Red solo. Mackenzie ends up getting first. Chloe gets second. And Kalani gets first. The Bite group dance gets first. And I actually did like this dance. I did. Watching it again, I was like, it's cool for what it is. And Abby mentions that Chloe's taking lessons now. And then she even said something about, oh, maybe Chloe's sneaking out to meet a guy. And it's like, again, why are you putting this on a child? And then she was like, oh, I was trying to give her some praise for once. And Satan destroys it. And it's just like, no, Chrissy was holding you accountable for saying weird things about her daughters. Now into episode 10, Abby lied about why Kalani and Maddie did not go against each other. I don't remember what she said, but it was a bunch of BS. And then Chrissy's like, okay, but you had her go against Chloe last week. And she was like, oh, and look what happened. Now I've learned my lesson and that won't happen again. Such a liar, because you knew Kalani was probably going to win that. So you put Chloe up against her. And Abby definitely set Kendall up with her Battled Feet solo, which I don't like this solo at all. It's probably one of my least favorite Kendall solos. Maddie does her Timeless solo, which had good technique. It was just very boring to me, honestly. Arby argues with Kira again because she's like, why can't they go up against each other and everything? And she's like, no solo today. But I kind of don't get Kira saying like, oh, she was number one at my old studio, and why would you come here to be number two? If you've seen anything about the show, then you would have known you weren't going to be number one when Maddie's still going to be on the show. She's always going to have Maddie be number one, and that's how it's always going to be. So it didn't make sense in that regard, but I mean, Kira has a point. Like, she really thinks Kalani can go up against anybody, so that's something that I would have liked to see, but we knew that Abby wasn't going to do that. And this is the one where they do the Riches to Rag group dance, which I liked. I did. And Jeanette comes into the dressing room after Ava does her solo and Kendall and Maddie performed, and she was like, oh, I don't think we got Maddie this time, but I think we got Kendall beat. And then Kira's like, you literally just said that she could beat Kendall. Like, how is that not a slap in her face? And that was just very disrespectful for her to come and say that where the kids could hear it. And then she comes for Kalani, and then Kira went in, and she was like, she would put your kid in a grave. And then she said she would have put your kid in a grave 10 years ago. And so, yeah, she really went in. Like, watching the scene, I laugh about it even though I shouldn't, but there's just something that's fun. Like, some scenes you watch on Dancemoms and it's like, it shouldn't be funny, but just because of delivery, like, you start laughing. And so then Abby's like, okay, like, let's do improv and everything, because, like, let's see if Kalani's really gonna come out on top. Kalani and Chloe did make it to the top 3 for improv, which was very impressive. Kendall ends up getting 9th for her solo. I believe Ava got 3rd for her solo. Maddie gets 1st. The group gets 1st. And then she literally gets in the dressing room and is talking about, oh, Chloe, you did a lot better on the improv than I would have thought. Like, really? You can't just give her credit? Like, you always have to have a backhanded compliment? Like, seriously? So it was just irritating. And Christy blows in Abby's face, and then Abby starts talking about her family, calling it pathetic. Why don't you talk to your mother? And it's like, I get you don't like each other, but that's just really hitting below the belt. Like, why are you bringing up her mother into this? It's episode 11. And so Chloe being that low on the pyramid when she got top 3 in improv, be for real. And I don't get why Fallon's high up on the pyramid when she wasn't even competing with them last week. Candy Apples was mid as per usual. Kendall does her Just Rain solo. I didn't really care for it too much. I'm going to be honest with you. Fallon forgot her solo, and then she started improvising it as well. Her mom forgot to bring the costume to the competition, so Abby felt away about that. And Abby literally tried to disqualify Fallon for forgetting the choreography, which was ridiculous to me, because you're always telling the girls, oh, if you forget, just make something up. So when she makes something up, you try to disqualify her. Like, are you kidding me? They can't win. They can't win. And then Fallon starts crying, I believe, and Abby said, don't cry, because you're going to make me feel bad for yelling at you. Are you kidding me? The Red with Envy group was okay. I think there was some better group dances this season, but I didn't hate it. Kathy saw Abby's group and she pulled her group dance because she felt like they weren't ready. Fallon gets third, Kendall gets second, Gavin from Candy Apples gets first with his solo, the ALDC group gets first, and then Cheryl and Fallon ultimately leave. Now on to episode 12. So Abby points out that the group routine has won 10 times in a row, which was really impressive, and that's something that's interesting, just the winning streak that they have with the group routine specifically for this season. Payne joins this week to be the lead in the group routine, and not her trying to push Chloe into the homeschooling again, just let it go. She said she doesn't want to do it. Kendall ends up getting the technique award for her solo, so congratulations to her. And then this is the week where Abby has Mackenzie perform the cry routine that Maddie did in the first season. And so it just annoys me because her and Melissa acknowledge that Mackenzie's not going to be Maddie. They're two different people and kinds of dancers, but at the same time, you want her to do Maddie's old routine and to have that comparison on there. I just thought that that was unfair. And so they just really irritate me with that as well because Mackenzie deserves to, do her own thing. I appreciated Christy's pep talk to Mackenzie right before she performed, saying, just be yourself and everything. You don't have to be Maddie. You're just as good. This is the one where Maddie performs the Game of Love solo. I thought it was a good solo, and that's where she's tapping again, so always nice to see. I think Mackenzie's cry was good for what it was. Chloe has her Follow You solo, which was an underrated solo. I liked it. I liked the costume. It was a good moment. And then this is where they do the Lift You Up group dance, which was really, really fun. I enjoyed watching it yet again. All the girls shine in their own way. I thought Payne was really good as the lead. Chloe gets third overall, and she gets first in the team category for her solo, I believe. Mackenzie gets second, Maddie gets first, and the group gets first. Now into episode 13, so Kalani comes back, and Leslie's mad that Kalani is made a permanent member instead of Peyton, but it just annoys me because Peyton is way too tall to dance with these kids, and Leslie is just horrible to deal with, so I get why Abby wouldn't have made her a permanent member. So I don't know why she keeps thinking that she's going to get made a permanent member, and she's like years older than these kids, so it just doesn't work. Kalani, she's closer in age to these kids, and she doesn't stick out because of her height in the dances, and she's phenomenal. So I get Kalani being made a permanent member a lot more. So this is when Kalani officially gets made a member of the team. Leslie talked way too much on Kalani, and she was mad that Abby made Kalani an official member of the team, but it's just irritating her trying to talk about who deserves to be on the team and who doesn't when you're not even on the team. Like, let it go. And then she put Kelly on top of the pyramid, which, I mean, come on, like, that was just silly. And then Abby really thinks that Chrissy's gonna go and ask Kelly for the costumes back for the group number. Why would she do that? And then this is where she tells Melissa, you can't even sew, you have zero talent. She argues with Christy, and Christy was like, oh, I'll get my attorney in you. And she's like, then we'll know his name. And she's like, you don't need to know my effing attorney's name. And then Leslie acting like she supports the other kids is messed up, because whenever Payne was first coming on, she was like, oh, I did better than Kendall in this and all that and blah, blah, blah. And now you acting like you support their children. You don't. Every once in a while she'll say something nice about one of the kids, but I mean, you're out there for your own kid, which I get, but like, stop trying to pretend to do something that you won't really do. And I think that her and Payne should have said something earlier about the fact that Payne's costume didn't fit. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you got to the competition? It didn't fit. So I don't know why you are surprised Abby got mad at you. And then Leslie had so much to say about Kalani, which was annoying. And then she told Abby, like, oh, you're just effing perfect. And Abby said people who said the F word were going to get kicked out because her and Christy got into it earlier, and Christy was using it at the front desk, and Leslie did. So then she kicks her out. And not Kathy trying to bribe the judge with the Candy's apple jacket. No shame. No shame. The Candy Apple Dancer does a tribute to Dad, who passed away. Kalani does Unless You Say You're Sorry routine, which I thought was good. And Candy Apple's group, I just didn't get the theme that they were going for. A lot of times I don't think that it's really good in terms of conveying that theme for sure. And Frost was okay as a group. They couldn't hear the music in the beginning, so they were off. And Abby had an offer to do it again, but she said no, like, we won't do it again. Candy Apple solo gets third, Kalani gets first, the Candy Apples group gets second, and the ALDC gets first. Something I wanted to say really quickly about the Candy Apples is that I just don't really think that Kathy gets to flaunt the wins that she gets over Abby, when most of the time you're not even choreographing your own dances and everything. And a lot of times you're getting dancers that aren't even at your studio just to compete for the show. So it just really irritates me. Now into episode 14. So Abby says her mom is in poor health. She's not going to get better. She's dying. And there was an audition for, I believe this was Mackenzie's video, and Chloe got cut from the video, but they said that was because Abby didn't want her to be part of the video, which is so on brand. And even Melissa said in one of the confessionals that they would have loved Chloe to be a part of it. So there is something there. And it's also important and worth noting that during the season, Chloe wasn't a member of the ALDC because her and Christy didn't sign the contract, because it had certain clauses like you couldn't gain 5 or 10 pounds or something like that. Abby got like 10% of what you made. Maxie Voss did a video on YouTube, and she talked about about why Chloe was excluded in season 4. So I'd highly recommend checking that out because you need to have the context, but I figured I would throw that in there. She was not part of that. And that's also why you don't see her wearing the Abby Lee apparel besides the jacket in season 4 as well. Nia gets pulled from the group because they don't have enough costumes. This is when they did Bollywood and Vine. She had to cut a girl, so she picked Nia. And this is also where Chloe and Kalani get assigned their duet for you too. And I agree with Christy that Chloe can hang with anybody in terms of choreography and stuff like that. And I thought that her and Kalani's duet was stunning. They worked together. They both really looked great. So definitely one of my favorite duets on the show. I thought Kendall's solo this episode was mid. I just didn't really care for it. I will say I love to see the girls encouraging each other before the dances and just, footage of them being kids. Nia killed her solo Damsel in Distress. I thought that she ate. Definitely got to be one of her best solos on that. And I thought there was a lot of entertainment value, which is fun. They performed the Bollywood and Vine group, which was so sharp with the choreography. I like the costuming. Like, it was a great watch. So definitely a favorite for the season for sure. And just overall one of their best. Nia gets third for her solo. Kendall gets second. Chloe and Kalani get first for their duet. And the group gets first. Now on to episode 15. I think Kalani should have got higher on the pyramid because her duet with Chloe won. And then there was some moms getting disrespectful about the juniors. I believe that these were some of the other moms that Abby brought in, and it's like they built the show and made it what it is, and it's very talented, so y'all did a little bit too much. And Christy said that her child is going to be the next Maddie, which, let's be serious. Melissa kicks them out because she was offended. Maddie does her Come to the Cabaret solo, which was a really good performance. And I thought there was a lot of entertainment value in that. Chloe does her Friday night solo. I can admit that she was set up with the choreography. It wasn't competitive. I agree with Christy in that respect and everything. But if you just take it at face value and you appreciate it for what it is, I like the solo. I do. It was fun. Chloe's facial expressions ate and her technique always shines through. So I actually think it's underrated. I really like the solo for what it is. Studio Larkin was good with the group dance. I didn't really care too much for the Amazing Grace group that they did because they just repackaged Maddie's solo that she performed at season 3 nationals. I didn't really care for that solo a whole lot to begin with, so this group didn't really move me a whole lot. Chloe got fifth for her solo, which just says a lot about her technique, and she can really take whatever choreography Abby gives her and execute it to perfection and everything. So, knew it was uncompetitive and still killed it. Maddie ends up getting first. The group dance ends up getting second, so their streak does end with the winning group dances. Studio Larkin ends up getting first, and Abby says she isn't disappointed and that she's proud of the girls, and this is when she is not at the competition because her mother's sick. And Melissa's like, she might be saying that now, but next week is going to be different. I agreed. Down to episode 16. So Abby's mom died, and they're just crying about that at the pyramid and all that and just reminiscing. The select team gets brought in, and Abby literally brought in a girl to compete with all the girls. She has each girl stand up and is like, this is going to be your competition, and just kind of trying to psych them out, which is just insane. The fact you brought a whole team in to be your original team. Like, you're just trying to break their spirits at this point. Another thing that didn't make sense to me is whenever Abby has all the girls from the select team and go and stand up against all those girls and say, oh, this is your competition, and have someone stand next to Kalani and say, oh, this is your competition, you just put Kalani on the team and you rave about how much you love Kalani and her technique and all this stuff. So don't act for a minute like she's going to be replaced when you just put her on the team. Abby puts Maddie on the other team, and she puts her in a bad position because Maddie said, I don't want to leave my original team and everything. I enjoy dancing with them. Like, I can dance with the girls. It's fine. But it's just not the same. It's just not the same. And just putting her on the pedestal again. Christy is so annoying. I really can't stand her. Like, and there's so many details into that, but yeah, she's one of the worst moms on the show. And then Abby saying Chloe needs to get on her A game. I mean, seriously, she's doing the best that she can with the choreography that you give. And then I don't know why Jeanette thought that they were going to be open with open arms, I believe, because it's just like, you were literally brought in to threaten our kids to potentially replace our kids. So why do you think that you were just going to get a big welcome and everything? Like, they're already kind of on edge and everything. I think the moms can be catty at times and stuff like that. And I don't agree with how they often talk to the other moms, but I think a lot of times when the other moms come in, they get so disrespectful and act like their kid's gonna have a permanent spot, and it's like, how many kids and moms have come on the show and then they're gone by the next week? So I think it kind of goes both ways. The select team duet is Birds of a Feather. That's Ava and Sarah Reasons, I believe. I mean, they had good technique, but it was just kind of mid to me. And then Kendall and Kalani have another duet. It's called Rule the World. It's mid with this knockoff, Beyonce song. I guess it was supposed to be to Run to the World, but I just hate this duet. There was just something that was so cheap about it. And the moms brought up in general about how the select team was always set up to win with better costumes, better choreography, more time to rehearse, better food, and all those things. So that definitely plays in this season as well. As we'll see, Kathy pops up. They have an interaction with her. And then this is the one where Cameron and Chloe go against each other yet again. Cameron does her Fate solo. I just thought it was mid. I wasn't very impressed with it, to be honest with you, just objectively. And Chloe does her Lucky Star solo, which is just one of my favorite solos. Like I said, that turn sequence, it's like a little bit less than 30 seconds, and I think it's a 26-second mark. Gorgeous. I love whatever that turn is called, and just the execution of the choreography and just the emotional execution, just insane. So one of her best solos this season, all praise for me. I really like the costuming. And then Christy and Abby get into it, and she calls her a liar, so that doesn't go well for her. Abby pulls her daughter from the routine. The select team, their routine, I just thought it was mid, whatever they ended up performing. I think this was whenever they did the Good Life routine. I just hated it. I hated the song. I hated the music. And then the ALDC do the Worlds group. I thought it was better than the select team, but still not one of my favorites that they did this season. Kalani and Kendall's duet gets third. The select team duet gets second. And you know Kira is mad about that because she's hating on one of the daughters and everything like that, saying that she's no competition for Kalani. And yeah, so it just got ugly with that. ALDC group gets second. Select group gets first for the group dances. Cameron gets third for her solo. Chloe gets first. And the fact that Abby lied in her confessional about being proud for Chloe, typical. Episode 17, this is a Seeing Red reunion. Abby pretending like she makes Chloe's dances better is just so ironic to me because you literally make them worse. And that's what Christy said. Like, she literally had Chloe do a bunch of turns and then she did them all perfectly and then she took them out of the solo. And she was doing that on the show as well. So Abby just lied. And Christy clocked Abby on her treatment of Chloe in general about how you're always telling her to be more confident, but then you beat her down. And you're always telling her to win, but then you set her up to fail. And that we can all see how you treat Chloe. So thank you for saying that. A lot of times Christy says exactly what I'm thinking. So I appreciate that she clocked Abby on that. And so they again talk about Kalani and Maddie going head to head, I believe. Christy leaves whenever Melissa comes out, and it's just her, Melissa, and Abby because she doesn't want to do it again. And then Jill and Hobby come up, and they kind of back her up. And Jill goes again about the changing lineup, which is just let it go. Like, you're just really dragging it at this point. Now into episode 18, Girl Talk. So this is just the girls answering a bunch of questions together. It was nice to see them answer questions, but at the same time, I kind of wish that the formatting of it would have been a little bit different. Like, in the beginning, it was Maddie, Chloe, and Nia, and they didn't have any questions for Nia. So she was basically just like a third wheel while Maddie and Chloe got questions to answer and stuff like that. And the fact that Maddie said she used to cry herself to sleep during that period where she wasn't getting solos just really shows the toll that Abby took on her in general. And so there's kind of that moment, and yeah, so it was okay for what it was. It wasn't a bad filler episode. Now it's episode 19. So this was the battle of Maddie and Chloe. So this was just a bunch of flashbacks, another filler episode. And so I agree in that one episode in season 1, whenever Abby moves up Maddie to Chloe's age category, I feel like you should have just kept them in their separate categories. Like, why do that? You know, I thought that was distasteful. And as I said before, the way that Christy handled that one week where Maddie got 2 solos in the dressing room afterwards and was yelling, you know, how many times does my daughter beat your daughter? That was just bad. It's one of her worst moments on the show. It was distasteful. You could have handled that better. You already knew she wasn't going to pull the solos out of the competition. Just take the out. Like, it just is a bad look. And this annoyed me so much because they're talking about Maddie and Chloe this, Maddie and Chloe that, and they show a few times where Maddie has won over Chloe, and they show Chloe getting the music video, but they never show the times where Chloe beats Maddie, and she's beat Maddie multiple times on the show, most notably on season 2 nationals. So I don't know why you wouldn't show that, because you're just skewing it in one way, and you're making it look like Chloe has never beat Maddie when she has on multiple occasions. So it just annoyed me that you didn't put that in the episode, and so I didn't really care for it. It's nice in the respect that we get to see some full dances. I will say that, like Chloe's Plare Le Morceau, we got to see the full thing of that. I believe the Black Swan duet is in this one, or another one of their dances that they did. So it was cool for that aspect, but in general, it's just like a lot of the show boils down to Maddie versus Chloe, so to have a whole episode, and it kind of feels redundant in my opinion. Now on to episode 20. So this was Abby's favorite groups. I don't know how Electricity made the top 10. Open Waters was a pretty group. Like I said, I wish Brooke and Paige would have been in it. Glam was a good group. I'm glad that we got to see the full group, and the full group for all these. Like I said, Black and Blue was insightful about domestic violence. Twilight was a great group. Why Not Me? Season 3 was good. Kevin Will Burn. Home Again, like I said, this is overrated in the fandom. I get what she was trying to do talking about Hurricane Katrina, but I just felt like it was lackluster in terms of the choreography, in terms of the song. I don't go up for this dance. And Season 3 Nationals is low-key probably my least favorite Nationals for the show. And yeah, I just thought that the dances for it were just kind of mid. I think my favorite dance from it was probably Mackenzie's solo that she had, the dance doctor solo, and I liked Kendall's voodoo doll solo as well. But I mean, Maddie's solo, I think that she just deserved better choreography, but you know, I digress. Private Eyes was fun. That's one of my favorite group dances too. The Last Text 8. And Where Have All the Children Gone being her number one was surprising. So it was good to get to see the full group dances, and I will say that. On to episode 21. So Christy naming the other moms was fun. I think Christy is really funny for the most part. Christy calling the other moms phony was just ridiculous because she was definitely outcast in that group. And any chance she could have to get on anybody's good side, like, child please. And Kalani's gone again. I heard that was a contractual thing because Lifetime wanted her to sign on for more years than she wanted to, and Kira, so that's why they weren't on. But Abby said it was something about Kira's boyfriend. Maddie says something about wanting the original team or wanting to be on the original team or something in there. That's what I have written in my notes. And then Abby annoys me because telling Kendall, oh, how did it feel that you and Kalani got beat? You set them up with mediocre choreography and a routine. Of course they're going to get beat. Duh. Like, why would you say that? Like, they tried their best with the BS that you gave them. Like, what do you expect them to do? Chloe got on top of the pyramid, which was well deserved for her winning her solo. But then, of course, Abby's going to have a couple of jabs on her, talking about, oh, 2 judges had Cameron higher, and 1 judge had Chloe higher, and blah, blah, blah. And then this is when Christy brings up that there's a rumor that she went to the judges about Chloe, saying that she doesn't deserve to win. And this is something that Christy does in one of the later episodes. She literally calls the judge and confirms that. And the judge was talking about, oh, Abby was saying that Chloe doesn't come to class, and that it was just a hot mess, and that she has so many followers on Instagram, and that's why she's winning. And the judges were like, look, we don't watch Dancemoms, we don't care. We judge her based on her performance. So for her to try to take away Chloe's win for the soul is ridiculous. And that's literally what she does. She sets up Chloe to fail a lot of times. And then whenever Chloe doesn't fail, and, you know, when she has moments like this and wins, you try to take away the win. Because with Nationals on season 2, she was saying to Chloe, oh, if you would have performed after Maddie did, then you would have lost. And it's like, why can't you just accept that gracefully? Your student won, even though you tried to set it up. Like, that was just distasteful. It really is. And of course, she can't ever just say anything nice about Chloe. It's also worth noting that there's a clip of Abby in season 8 saying that she never wanted Chloe to win and Chloe won all the time. So yeah, for some people who may think that, oh, like, it's not true about how much she hated her or try to like downplay it, like, I mean, she admitted herself that she never wanted her to win. So it's pretty evident. And then Christy was just so annoying, talking about, oh, you won't like me, but you will respect me. They don't respect you and they don't like you. So like, where do we go now? And then the select moms get into a physical fight. And then it's just annoying, as people brought up, because whenever Christy and Leslie got into the fight in season 3, you pulled them out of nationals and said that they couldn't go. But whenever the select moms get into a fight right in front of your face, oh, you just make them do fake apologies to each other, which was a ridiculous thing to watch, and their kids still get to perform. Double standards yet again. It really is. And the girls look defeated as the select team ran their performance for this and everything. And it's just kind of really sinking in that Abby's really just trying to set them up to fail. And Jill clocked Abby on why she didn't suspend those 2 members and, you know, double standards. Christy was so annoying about Mackenzie and just saying things about her. Mackenzie's Watch Me Fly solo 8. Sarah H's solo was meh. The select team has this number called Rapture. I thought it was good for what it was. I don't think that it was like outstanding like some people thought. I mean, just meh. I like, a lot of times on this season, I actually do prefer the elite competition teams like numbers and choreography to the select team. I will say that. But I can see why they were set up to win just in terms of the costume, the choreography. Like, Abby did everything she could to make sure that they won. And so this is when the elite team performs light as a feather, stiff as a board. And Chloe is the lead in this dance. It's a darker dance, the one with the Ouija board. I love this dance. This is one of my favorite group dances that they've done on the show. I thought it was different. So I thought that they ate. They really did. It's nice to see Chloe have the lead. Sarah H gets 4th with her solo. Mackenzie gets 1st. ALDC gets 2nd for the group dance, the elite competition team, and the select team gets 1st. Then Maddie does her confessional and she says, like, I just really thought we were going to win. And I get why she's upset about losing, because she just knows, like, what it's going to do to the team and what Abby's going to say, and just feeling like you tried your best and it still wasn't good enough. Like, that really has to be unfortunate. And I get why the girls are devastated, because as the moms brought up, like, it really sank in. Like, Abby brought in these girls specifically to beat us, and she's going to do anything that she can to give them the advantage. And as a kid, that has to be hard. That has to be hard. You got so much pressure getting put on you, telling you you're not good enough, and to have people specifically audition and come to beat you. And yeah, I get why they were devastated. They weren't being sore losers. They just realized the situation that they were put in. And I feel like Holly should not have told Maddie to stop crying. I thought that that was wrong of her to do. Let the kid have some emotions. Now on to episode 22. I appreciated Jill standing up for the girls and explaining why they were upset and why they were defeated about it. It wasn't about them being sore losers, as they already discussed and everything. And Abby talking about being a sore loser is rich, because like I said, she just tried to take away Chloe's win. So, I mean, let's be actually serious. Like, Abby's such a hypocrite. Chloe should have been higher on the pyramid. She did a great job as the lead over the group dance. Mackenzie should have been on top of the pyramid because she won with her solo. And Christ is saying she doesn't agree with how the girls handled losing. Like, nobody asked you for your opinion. And as Christy or one of the moms said, you don't understand the game and the situation that we're put in. And I can get why the girls would be discouraged in this point. They're nice girls, but I mean, I get why they would be upset in that moment. Christy saying that Sarah's coming off a win, your kids aren't. Why would you say that? It was just distasteful. And Christy saying the moms already thought that they were going to lose when that wasn't what they said at all. So that was definitely a setup, and just trying to throw them under the bus to Abby. I mean, seriously. And just, so there was that moment. And then this is the one where Maddie does a duet with Gino. That girl's got to be kissed. And it just puts her in the awkward position because she's making her kiss Gino and she doesn't want to do that. And Abby kissing Maddie was just so weird. Like, why would you do that to your own student? So, I hated that so much. I can't stand Abby. I really can't. The Candy Apples duet, they did the Stars Align one, I think it's called. I thought that they ate. This is one of the routines that I actually liked from Candy Apples, which is a rare thing for me to say, but I thought the choreography was very mature. I liked the dance a lot. The ALDC duet with Maddie and Gino was good. I just think the Candy Apples duet was actually better this time. And the Candy Apples group dance, I don't get what the message of it was because it was about a conspiracy. And so they just didn't really have that message out. Like, a lot of times whenever Kathy tries to have a message, it just falls flat on your face. It doesn't help when you also don't choreograph your dances either. And this is where the ALDC does the Broken Dolls group dance, which they have a lot of ballet technique in. And I like the costuming. And this is the one where Chloe falls. And so I thought it was still good. I don't think that Chloe falling ruined the routine because she recovered in it pretty quickly. And like people said, kind of added to the routine in a way because it's about broken dolls and she literally felt like it all worked together in a sense. And I really like the routine. I think it's actually kind of like underrated, at least by me. And then Maddie was nice saying, if we don't win, it's not your fault. And just trying to, help her not feel so guilty because accidents happen. ALDC duet gets second. Abby blamed Gino for that, kicked him out. Candy Apples duet gets first, which is rightfully deserved. The group gets second for Candy Apples, and the Abby Lee Dance Company gets first for their group. Now on to episode 23. So Abby's on her BS again about looking for a number 2, which we've already discussed. Christy getting mad that Sarah doesn't have a solo. Read the room. Abby tells Maddie that she gets to assist with the choreography for the solos. Chloe has her I Should Have Known solo assigned to her. And again, another subliminal title because Abby's like, oh, I should have known if I don't go to class, I'm not going to get better. And Maddie's going to pass me up and blah, blah, blah. And she always tried to portray Chloe as like a lazy student when Chloe worked very hard and did what she could despite the fact of everything that you were trying to put against her. So I love that. And so I agree with someone, and they said that basically Abby was mad that Chloe could come in and learn a routine relatively easy and kind of just have a great performance in terms of the execution of the choreography and the technique and all of those things. And so they hit that nail on the head. Nia had her underdog solo, and dressing up Nia as a dog, it's giving racist. I'm sorry, just the microaggressions there. And as someone who is, black and everything, and just being portrayed as like animalistic and just like dehumanizing. So like the fact that she even had that with the dog collar and asking her to bark, it was just uncomfortable to watch. And Abby has to pay for all her microaggressions and racist things that she said to Nia on the show because it's getting ridiculous. Christy being mad about her kid being in the back, get in line. Jill saying that Christy is threatened because of Kendall's opportunity, be for real. Nia's costume was hideous, like I already said. Christy ate whenever she told Abby, I think the garbage needs to be taken out, and I think that starts with you. She ate a few little things on the show. I hated Chloe's costume because it was basically an ALDC advertisement, and apparently Abby said it was trying to be like Katniss, which it wasn't. It wasn't. You lied. Nia's solo was just meh. She did the best she could with what she was given, but I didn't really care for the solo. Chloe's I Should Have Known, like I said, she could have done harder choreography. It was a setup in that respect, but it was good for what it was. She did what she could and the best she could with what she was given. Kendall's not just another pretty face solo. It was good, but I think that she just had better solos this season. Kendall was a lead for the group dance, the Tramps and Thieves. I thought it was good. I liked the front aerial at the beginning. Nia gets fourth, Chloe gets second, Kendall gets first, the group gets first. And Jill saying, oh, you're given the tools is what we do to be for real. Because Kendall got set up with the Hollis solo and you weren't saying it then. So I don't want to hear it. And then Abby telling Chloe she doesn't see fire in her. Well, you don't see it because you constantly bring her down and tell her that she's not good enough. So what did you think was going to happen for that? Like, they just get ridiculous. Now on to episode 24. Chloe deserved higher on the pyramid, in my opinion. Jade comes in and she does her Far East solo, which was just racial insensitive, as people pointed out. Chloe has her They Don't Want My Kind Around Here solo, which was, again, another dig. And I think even Abby was trying to deny that it was a dig, but we all know that it was at this point in the season, and she's had multiple subliminal titles. We already went over I Should Have Known, Another Girl, Nobody's Perfect. The list goes on. So, I mean, save it, Abby. Like, stop lying. Stop lying. Like, we know what it is at this point. And we already know she's going to have Chloe go up against the new girl. So, it was just already a given at this point. And Christy clocked that Abby always sets Chloe up and everything. And she's even trying to talk with Jade's mom, Lori, about it. And Lori's like, oh, maybe she thinks Chloe's good. And that's why she's, having her compete against it. But it's like, you don't understand the situation. You really don't. Abby stops watching Chloe solo. It's not even giving her that attention in rehearsal. I mean, come on. I appreciated the girls being kind to Chloe and encouraging her, like, maybe you might win for this and just trying to keep her spirits up. I thought Jade's solo was good for what it is. And that's my kind of thoughts there. I think she had nice technique. I think Chloe did the best she could with what she was given. She did kind of bobble turn towards the end, but the solo was all right. I just think that she's had way stronger solos this season and everything, and it's just the limitation of the choreography that was given to her. And then one of my favorite things that Chrissy says is she says, Abby, you're a bitch. And Abby says, what? And she says, you're a witch. Chrissy 8. Studio Blue had a good group number. And this is whenever they did There's Nothing to Fear But Fear Itself. And I really like this one. I really did. I thought that it was super cool. And I thought it was like, wow, like it just blew me away. And whenever I was watching it, I was like, this is underrated by me. This is like one of the best group dances this season. And I'm pretty sure this is the one that Mackenzie wasn't in because she started crying at the improv and like ran off and didn't want to do it. So Abby's like, you're not going to be in it. But then apparently Abby didn't have her in it because she wanted to be in the teen division because Studio Blue was in the junior division and she didn't want to get beat by them. So that's kind of why she switched it up. But I like this group dance a lot. It was definitely mature. It was a cool moment. I liked all the parts there. It was wow. Chloe got 6th for her solo. Jay got 3rd. Kaylee, Studio Blue solo, ends up winning. Abby Lee gets 2nd for the group. Studio Blue got 1st. And Lori admits that she wasn't happy with her daughter getting 3rd place. She was like, she usually places way higher here. Why are we doing the acro solo and all that stuff? And yeah, she gave her a piece of her mind, so I respect it. Now on to episode 25. So she ends up putting Ava up against Maddie, not Kendall. And I agreed with Jill. Like, why didn't you put her up against Kendall? Because you said that she was Kendall's competition. So why did you not put them up against each other? Like, I thought that that was going to happen at some point. And so I don't remember what she said, but she had a bunch of BS about why she didn't do it as typical. And Chloe ends up getting put on the select team, which I'm surprised. I'm surprised that she would do that. And Christy tells Jeanette that Ava has been set up to fail because she knows how it works. We've seen it with Chloe 1,000 times. You put someone up against Maddie, you're going to give Maddie every single advantage that she can. You're going to set up the other person to fail. And Ava has the umbrella, and Jeanette doesn't understand that she was set up to fail. And she thought that Christy was just being bitter, but she was just trying to warn you about what was going to happen. So there was that. And Jill was saying that the glass was always half full with Christy in regards to Chloe being with the select team. But I get Christy's perspective because you've seen your daughter set up how many times? Of course, you're going to think that that's happening again. And Abby doesn't really do things in good faith for Chloe. And I actually heard that when the other girls got solos on the show, like Abby had to get bribed or threatened for that to happen and stuff like that, even have higher placements on the pyramid. So a lot of times they encouraged Abby to give Chloe better choreography and costumes and stuff like that and more solos. So that's just interesting. There was producer influence on Pyramid, I hear. So I wanted to have that. And Abby got mad because Jeanette went down there and gave her very valid concerns on the routine. And this is the one where Maddie performs her happiness solo. This is my favorite Maddie solo. I think the choreography is gorgeous. I love the costume. I love the song. It's just excellent. Ava has her umbrella solo and it goes inside out, and Abby gets mad at that, talking about I've never had that happen to me. And then the first ladies routine with Chloe for the select team, it was good. I thought that Chloe ate and did what had to be done. America Gone, I believe that's what it was called, for the ALDC Junior Elite competition team. I thought that was a great number. I really liked it. Ava got 3rd. Maddie got 1st, the ALDC group got 2nd, select group got 1st, and Chloe got a special judges award for outstanding performance in a group routine. And of course, Abby didn't give Chloe any credit for the select team getting 1st. Typical. Now into episode 26. So this is the one where Mackenzie, Tia, and Sarah go head to head, and she finds out that Ava's going to be at the competition. So she even tells the girls, like, hey, I might enter you in a solo, Maddie, so bring your costume and everything. But she doesn't tell everyone else that. So just, again, be heads up about it and tell everyone, like, this is what's going to happen and it is going to be what's going to be. But I just don't like how sneaky that Abby and Melissa are. And Melissa acting surprised whenever Abby entered Maddie and, like, what's going to happen. Just stand on it. Like, Melissa is so fake. That's why I can't stand her. They do the tribal council group dance, which was just racially insensitive, as people have mentioned. Sarah H's solo was mid to me. Tia's solo was okay. I liked Mackenzie's Out of My Mind solo. It's probably one of her best solos. Ava's solo was just mid to me. I didn't really care for it. Abby adds in Maddie's solo, Melissa being fake again, as I already mentioned, and Maddie performs Happiness, which, like I said, I love that routine. Sarah wins her category. Tia got 5th. Mackenzie got 3rd. Ava got 2nd. Maddie got 1st. and the group dance that they did, the tribal council ends up winning, and that's the one that Nia was leading. And I don't understand why Ava would need permission for Abby to dance within their studio or go to another competition if she didn't ask her back for the week. So that was something there, and I think this is the episode where Ava gets kicked off the team. Now on to episode 27. So this is the one where Maddie gets assigned the Fool Me Once dance, and Abby's like, oh, we don't know if she's going to be here, so I'm going to give you understudies in Chloe and Kendall. And I just feel like she should have gave somebody else a solo if she wasn't sure that Maddie was going to be there. So that's my opinions there. And this is the one where they have the whiteboard, and they just have all those little marks showing whenever Abby said something negative to the girls. And that was definitely very opening, just like seeing it physically in front of you. And I don't get why they didn't have the whiteboard facing themselves, so Abby didn't catch on to what they were doing with it. So I just don't understand why it was facing them, because they didn't even know what it meant. And I eventually did figure it out, but yeah. And then the matches group, Abby ended up pulling it because she didn't like what the moms were doing with the whiteboard. I heard it got disqualified because of the fire, but apparently that wasn't true. Abby really did pull it. And so after they performed it, it was announced that it wasn't going to be judged. Like, it was just an exhibition. So that was something there. And Gianna explains that because of your mom's behavior, it was pulled. And I'm glad we got to see the full performance for it, because I think that that's actually one of the best groups of the season. It's one of my favorite group dances. I thought the choreography was sharp. I liked it. Maddie does Fool Me Once. Great Maddie solo, one of her best. And I think, again, the mom's got to take the L with, Maddie being entered in and everything. Like, at a certain point, I get why they would feel away, but it's just like, why are we still arguing about it at a certain point? You know what I mean? I don't get why they brought the boards to the competition. And Abby was foul whenever she said, Nia is 12 and can have kids and get married in some countries. That was disturbing. That's one of the worst things that Abby has ever said. And I get why Holly would be disgusted. And the moms went in and comforted him. And they talked with Kathy about that. The Candy Apples group was mid, as expected. I think it's cool overall that Chloe did get to be in the official Fool Me Once video. I have that written down. And the Gino solo gets second overall. And apparently he and Maddie weren't even competing against each other. They were in different age categories. So I wanted to say that. Maddie gets first overall, and Candy Apples gets fourth. Now on to episode 28, the moms talk with Abby about the routine getting pulled, and Abby got mad that she got held accountable for her abusive words, and Abby's like, these are my teaching methods, which is just being abusive and whatever. And so Sarah Reasons had her solo. I think this was the one, Sun Goddess. I just thought it was mid. I didn't really care for it too much. Nia does her Goodbye Maya solo, which was good. Definitely got to be one of her best solos. Insightful. She does a spoken word. Kendall does Fool Me Twice as her solo, and this is just her, doing the solo that she learned last week. And I just thought it was mid. This is where they do 7 dancers group dance. I hate this dance. This is one of their worst group dances. Sarah gets fourth for her solo, Sarah Reasons. Kendall gets second. Nia gets first. Group gets first. Abby has another argument with Kathy. Now on to episode 29. I kind of agree with Christy. Like, why is Cameron back for the recital when she's not even on the team? And then Cameron's mother defending Abby going to the judges is nasty and talking about, oh, Cameron deserved that win. And as people pointed out, it'd be one thing if Cameron was second, but she got third. So there was somebody who beat Cameron that wasn't even Chloe, and Chloe was number 1. So for her to defend Abby's behavior going back to the judges and, oh, Cameron deserved that win, you got beat. Take the L. Like, you're just such a sore loser. And then, like I said, Christy confirms that Abby tried to take away the win with the judges, which is just sad. It really is. You should not try to do that to your own student. Like, Chloe's foot gets swollen, so she can't perform at the recital, which is sad. And Christy can't let it go that Sarah is not in the number and that she got cut. And she got cut because Abby said Chloe's not in the number and it just works better with 5 instead of 6. And so her trying to send her back in there and just not listening to her feelings, that's unfortunate, and she just didn't do that. The highest was a good group number. I wish Chloe got to be in it. It was sad to see Chloe crying because she couldn't be in the number. The 45-second solos were good. I think that Kendall did the best out of all those, to be honest with you. Cameron fell out of her turns during her performance, and they just ignored it and talk about, oh, how she projected. But whenever Mackenzie messed up on her side aerial, then they wanted to go over that. So double standards. And, I can appreciate Christy comforting Nia, because I get feeling away when you haven't had a national solo and, Abby's going to pick who she wants and it doesn't really matter what the performance is and it's just a formality. So I can definitely understand that. Episode 30, Abby again doesn't mention Cameron falling out of her turns, but she mentions Mackenzie messing up her side aerial. Again, double standard. Kathy sends Abby a gift and she doesn't open it because she doesn't want to waste any more time, and right as she said that, that's when Jeanette pops up. And I don't get why Jeanette would come back, because you got kicked off of the team, and Abby basically said that, so why are you coming back? And so then there's that scene where she has her stand next to Chloe and says, you're too tall for us today, and then she kicks her off the team. So Jeanette just putting her daughter in that position, it was just not good. It wasn't good. They should have been left, and I'm trying to force it. Like, nationals, really, it was not the time. And I don't get why Abby would have Maddie learn a solo when you said at Pyramid she wasn't supposed to be doing one. So it doesn't make sense. Again, double standard. It annoyed me whenever Christy went on so long about the chandelier that Kathy said. And Abby kept telling her to shut up. And she just kept going. And then she gets Sarah kicked out again. Basically, I think Christy ate saying that Chloe's solo soaring deserved better choreography. And she told Gianna that too. And I definitely agree. I definitely agree. They set her up yet again. And they have this moment where they go up against the Candy Apples on the street, and it ended up going down to Nia and Chloe versus Mackenzie from Candy Apples. Mackenzie wins for Candy Apples for that, and then they do the group battle, and then the ALDC win. Now on to episode 31. So Abby telling Chloe to work on her confidence, be for real, and then whenever Abby talks about the solo for Maddie again, Melissa's like, oh, the other girls deserve that chance. The moms get mad about that. Melissa complained to Abby about it. Christy and Abby get into it. And then Abby saying that Chloe sucks, which is distasteful because, that's not true. Christy got mad at Chloe, but she lost her passion, and you understand it as well. And then she ended up apologizing for that situation. And then it was sad to see Chloe said, I want to win, but I don't know how. It really is. That's devastating. And Maddie says no to doing a national solo whenever she's asked by Abby, because basically they would have entered it in late and she would have had to pull one of the other solos. And Maddie really is a team player. And I feel like I saw someone else say that recently, but I definitely want to have it as well. Like, she was very much for her teammates and she was very much going to work hard. So she kind of deserves more credit in that, because I don't even know why it would be up to her to even have to just say that and be more mature than everybody else, because I just feel like, if you already assigned these three girls the solos, then let them do the solo. If you're going to give Maddie solo, fine. But don't assign, other solos and then take it away. I think that that's cool for them to, learn it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if they did pull one of the girls' solos, I think that she would have pulled Kendall's, because she wanted Chloe to lose to Cameron, so they would have to compete against each other. So then I think she would have taken Kendall's off. And Kendall's solo, My Name in Lights, why is the beginning basically the same as Demand Applause? Like, I was rewatching, I was like, why does it look the exact same? And so it just seemed like a lot of turns to me. I had to watch the full solo, but it just wasn't outstanding to me for a national solo. I expected more. Some of the solos she performed during the season were better than this one. Chloe's soaring solo, I thought it was good for what it is. Like I said, deserved better choreography. Cameron's solo was called This Is a Start, and it's so funny because this was literally the last time that we see her on the show. And she ends up falling, but she actually covered it up pretty well. The Candy Apples one plays Chandelier, and Maddie ends up doing the Sia choreography 8. And then the Candy Apples dance I thought was trash, and I didn't like it at all. The select team Hollywood Stars, it was alright. I didn't really love it. Amber Alert is one of my favorite group dances that they've done about child abduction. They all did outstanding. Kendall got 9th for her solo. And then there was a tie between Chloe and Cameron, and the technical score was higher for Chloe. So Chloe gets 5th, Cameron gets 6th, and then Abby's like, I don't know how she pulled it off, blah, 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 and just hating on her yet again. Candy Apples group gets 5th, Select Team gets 2nd, LDC group gets 1st, and Abby gets mad the solos didn't win, but you could have gave Chloe better choreography and a chance to win. Abby gets mad because she found Kendall crying because of where she placed with her solo, and Christy ends up defending Kendall. She was like, oh, you were, hugging up Cameron whenever she was crying, and then you're hating on Kendall, like, it's not the same. And so there is something there, and then Abby starts arguing with Christy, and then she was like, oh, Chloe doesn't have the technique, Cameron does. Okay, but who just got the higher technical score? Chloe. Who won over Cameron a couple weeks ago? Chloe. So, I mean, what's it looking like now? And then Christy clocked Abby and, saying that we watch the show for the kids. Exactly. And they reused the audio whenever she argued with Kathy during the Seven Dancers episode of her saying that Kathy was washed up, and they put it over what Abby really said. And what she really said to Chloe was something like, get that lazy eye fixed, which is very offensive. And, Christy gets into it with her as well. I think Jill should have stood up for her because she got into the argument because of Jill. So, that was very distasteful. And Chloe, tells her, hey, I heard what Abby said. And that's, that's really unfortunate. And it's just sad no one comforted them as well. Like, they just, at the end of that scene, whenever Chloe's like, I still want to do this, I still want to dance, I just don't want to do it here anymore. And just, to see the sadness from them and just see how defeated that they felt and just no comforting from them, that was sad. That was sad. That really was. And then just that scene where they walk away, it's tough. It's tough. Abby says she's getting rid of the select team. And, that's that for season 4 for the most part for the regular. And then we have the reunion. On to episode 32. This was the Playing Favorites reunion. So Holly clocked Abby's hypocrisy yet again. There was extra footage from the Christy Abby fight, but it annoys me that they didn't show what Abby actually said. And they were trying to frame Christy as the bad guy because of what she said, but you didn't even show what Abby actually said. So it's just annoying. And to this day, they still won't admit what she said about Chloe's eye. And, this has been confirmed what Abby said about Chloe's eye by Christy, by Chloe, and by multiple team members as well. So we have to have that. And Christy clocked Abby that she was mad that Chloe beat Cameron, and on the choreography that Abby doesn't want her to do well, and that she sets her up with the choreography. They have Fool Me Thrice, and this is the trio with Maddie and Kendall and Chloe. I kind of wish that Chloe would have done this as a solo because we already got to see Maddie and Kendall do it, and I wish that they had better angles and it was just like a zoomed out angle the whole time so I could see because the way that they zoom in, it didn't really care for it. But I'm glad that we got to see it. I am. And Melissa definitely does favor Maddie over Mackenzie. I feel like we can agree on that. I would have liked Maddie to perform her scratch national solo at the reunion. That would have ate because I just wanted to see like what it was supposed to be. Like I think it would have been super cool. Holly clocked her yet again. And I don't know why Abby kept kicking Krusty and Sarah off of the team and bringing them back. You know that her mom's going to be difficult to deal with. And there was barely any numbers that Sarah performed in because she kept getting kicked off because of her mother. So I don't know why she kept bringing her back. Like, you don't like her mother. And Christy ate, saying that Abby only sticks to her rules when it's convenient. And she clocked the double standard. And Lori clocked Abby that she set up the select team with the final number because she did. She didn't practice with the select team enough. The elite team number was far superior. And yeah, they were set up. And then Abby saying the select team doesn't need a gimmick. Wow. Wow. And then the ALDC team and the select team had a number together, and it was very mid in my opinion. My thoughts on Kira this season overall, it wasn't too bad for the most part, I can say. She did a thing or two I disagree with, but it wasn't that horrible. I could appreciate her confidence in Kalani's talent whenever she stood up for Kendall, like those little things. I think as she comes back to the show, she definitely gets progressively worse, but her on the season, like the little bits that she is on, isn't bad. So, some quick thoughts on the select mom. Cameron's mom, like I said, sore loser for the fact that your daughter lost and you are okay with Abby going to the judges. So, I don't like her. She's very annoying. And I will say, though, I can get why they came back when Abby asked them because you are not going to not take that opportunity and everything if you want to have that moment and get the fame and all that stuff. So, I can say that, but, she's just a sore loser. I don't really care for her too much. Jade's mom, Lori, she was all right. She was all right. She said a thing or two I disagree with, but she wasn't really that bad to see on the show. And I can get her wanting to be on the elite team and everything. And yeah, if the other moms have the opportunity, like they're gonna take it. So she called them out for their hypocrisy on that. Christy is literally the worst. Like she's one of the worst moms on the show. I don't agree with her political beliefs or anything like that. And so she just had a lot of moments on here where I'm just like, really, like she could never read the room. She was just always asking inappropriate questions. Oh, what about my daughter? This, always disrespecting the select team members or the elite competition team and stuff like that. Like there was rarely a moment I agree with her. And so I think she's funny TV though. Like she's funny to laugh at, but I just don't like her. I think she's one of the worst moms to ever be on the show. And so there's my point there. Jeanette, Ava's mom, I don't care for her really because like I said, I just think that they kind of had a point that she was stalking Abby at a certain point because why are you at literally everything that she does? And then just coming back and that whole dressing room moment didn't even need to happen. So I will say that. I think the comments that Abby made on Ava was very cruel. It really was. Tia's mom did 8 whenever she got into that physical altercation with Christy, so I'm gonna give her 10s there. May have been a thing or two I disagree with, but she put Christy in her place, so I have to give her respect in that regard. Sarah Reason's mom, I felt bad for her because Kira was always coming at her and her daughter, and so I don't know if she really was saying stuff about Kalani. If she was, then I guess I could kind of see it, but some of the stuff Kira said to her was like pretty out of pocket, just attacking her for no reason, so I kind of feel bad for her. There was some times where, I disagree with her in general, so I'll say that general, I could appreciate that Holly was more outspoken this season, I'll say. And like I said earlier, I agree with that. It was Christy and Chloe against the world. It was Melissa, I can't stand her. Jill, and going on and on about that whole swap. It was just getting tired. It's unfortunate that Kelly had to leave the show. So that's kind of like my thoughts on like the select moms and other moms this season. In terms of my favorite routines this season, ones that I really wanted to highlight for the solos, Chloe's Into Me and Maddie's Happiness really stand out. For the duet, it would be Chloe and Kalani's For You Too. For the trio, it was Chloe, Paige, and Kendall with Buckle Up. For the group, I'm going to give a few because I think that there was a lot of outstanding ones. So obviously, Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board, Amber Alert. I also have to throw in Nothing to Fear But Fear Itself because that one stood out to me. Broken Dolls probably has an honorable mention in there somewhere. And Bollywood and Vine, like I said, is one of my favorite group routines they've ever done. So I have to mention that. Now into my overall thoughts for this season. I have a lot of them, as you already guessed. So I have a love-hate relationship with this season because I love the dancing. Rewatching it, it just reinforced my stance that it's the best season for choreography, hands down. The solos, the duets, the trio, the group dances, like it was just phenomenal in terms of that. Some of the best routines are on this season. And, as I said earlier, the new intro is great. I love the aesthetic of the season. I think it's Dancemoms at its peak. But at the same time, it's really hard for me to see how Abby treats the girls So I think that's kind of how I feel about the season, but I do enjoy it for what it is. I do have to be honest about that. And like I mentioned, Chloe wasn't a part of the studio due to the contract and everything, and it was just hard seeing Abby's treatment of her. And you could just see that she was losing passion all the way throughout the season. And someone posted on the subreddit, like, Chloe throughout the pyramid, and it was just like, all the years, and you can just see her slowly losing her passion. I think that that's hard to watch. Nationals episode is tough, and just like I said, the comment about Abby talking about, oh, Nia's 12 and old enough to get married in some countries, that was horrible. As mentioned, Mackenzie's always compared to Maddie. She called Kendall a space cadet, I believe, which was just horrible. Always put Maddie in an uncomfortable position and everything against the other girls, trying to separate her from the other girls and, the pedestal and just pressure Maddie must feel. Brooke and Paige deserved better. She had a lot of shots at them whenever they were on the show, and then whenever they left, all those little slights at them and everything was distasteful. And I think that Kelly's exit marks a tone shift on the show for sure. I agree with somebody that it just became a lot more about winning and not really about just having fun and enjoying stuff with the routines. Like, you can just tell how stressed the girls are all the way throughout the show, because it's like, if I don't win this week, like, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be kicked off the team and all these things? We know Abby can only do so much because, they signed the contract, but still, just like her always beating down on the girls and having somebody else to beat them. I mean, that's tough. I mentioned that 1,000 times, but that has to be tough. And I feel like there's a lot of tension. There's not really a whole lot of lighthearted moments. And so that's just something that I missed. So I think Abby became truly viral in the season. Just the comments towards the girl and just how tough that it got. And I can't imagine the stuff that we didn't see the season, the stuff that wasn't aired. And yeah, and watch Dancemoms Uncovered. So she does behind the scenes and she kind of talks about what we didn't see about the episodes. You get to hear a little bit more. And I also really like the bonus scenes for the season so you can see more. So yeah, kind of love-hate relationship with the season, but overall I do like it for sure. I feel like after Christy and Chloe leave the show, it just really goes downhill, and I'm not looking forward to rewatching season 5. It's one of my least favorite seasons, and I will have a lot of details why, and when we get there I will explain it, but just kind of having that courtesy there. But yeah, seasons 1 through 4 of Dance Moms are goated in my opinion. If you're gonna watch a show, at least watch the first 4 seasons. That's what I tell everybody. That's gonna be my thoughts on season 4. I knew there was gonna be a lot. It's gonna be tough to edit and throw this together, but there was a lot I had to say. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. What were your favorite dances from this season? What were your favorite moments in general? Favorite quotes? Do you agree with my opinions? Do you disagree with me? And let's kind of have that conversation there. But I just feel like there's a lot to talk about this season, obviously, and so I'm not looking forward to season 5. I don't like season 5, and whenever I do my review, you'll get why. And so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, though. Like, what were your thoughts on this season overall? What were your favorite routines? What were your favorite moments? What were your least favorite moments? Do you agree with my opinions? Do you disagree with me? What are some insights that you have on the show? And so let's kind of continue that there. If you wanted to see similar stuff to this, then I did do a review for the previous 3 seasons. They all have their own dedicated videos. And I also shared my favorite Chloe solos, my favorite Maddie solos. I talked about the reunion. And I have some other Dance Mom stuff. It'll be at the end of this video and link down below in the description if you'd like to see more. You can give this video a like down below. It helps me out a lot in YouTube algorithm and lets me know that you enjoyed it. So I'd very much appreciate that. You can subscribe to see more like this. If you hit the bell, you get a notification to your phone when I post. You're not missing brand new videos come out. First link down below in the description will be my main channel. So a lot of it is music reviews. I just reacted to Billie Eilish's new album, so you can go see my thoughts on there. Also going to have Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, TikTok, Airbuds if you would like to follow me, and Free Palestine. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.